Okay, we want to do a quick teaching here on the Antichrist. I'm going to use that word because that's what everybody knows. I'm talking about the beast or the false prophet or the one that's going to arise and change things, and it's going to be in the tribulation, all that. So I know that John even spoke about there are many Antichrists, but people seem to understand that word when they say, "Oh, that's the Antichrist," and I've heard so many teachings. I've seen hours and hours where they said, it's got to be this world leader, or they add up the number of their name and it adds to 666, or it's going to be the Pope, or, I've just heard so much fanatical teaching on this, hours and hours of it. But there's one important thing that all of these teachings miss, and that's what we want to focus on today. And that is that Jesus said that they wouldn't receive him, but there was going to come one after him whom they would believe, and that he would, they would follow this person. And Jesus kind of gave us a clue about that in Matthew 24, when he says, all these things must happen, and then the end shall come. And Jesus says, when you see this happen, the abomination of desolation in the holy place, and that's where he quotes Daniel, in several places in Daniel, he says those very things, that there's going to become one who changes the daily sacrifice. And it speaks of happening in the holy place, the abomination of desolation. And so, you got to think about this just for a minute. You don't have to know Scripture a lot of Scripture to figure this out. But for the person to get into the Holy of Holies in Jewish tradition, that person has to be Jewish. He can't be the Pope unless, of course, if we elected a Jewish Pope, possibly. But, they're missing that very point. This person has got to be a Jew. It's got to be of Jewish lineage. Personally, from my study, I think it's either Asher, Gad, or Dan. Gad and Asher were the seventh and eighth born of Jacob. So, seven's a divine number, eighth is new beginnings. But I want to run over some scriptures about about the tribe of Dan. And this is what Jacob, at the end of his days, he brought his 12 sons together and he prophesied. And this is what he said it's Genesis 49:1. Jacob says, "Gather yourselves together that I may tell you that which is going to happen in the last days." That's what Jacob said. Here's what's going to happen in the last days. And who gets to Dan, here's what he says. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path, that bites at the horse's heels, so that the rider falls backwards. This is prophesied clear back in Genesis, that someone from the tribe of Dan was going to rule over Israel. And we know from Scripture that the serpent is a deceiver. He's going to deceive, and he's going to be in the path. And it says he bites at the horse's heels to knock the rider backwards. So, and in Revelation, another thing about the tribe of Dan is, if you look in Revelation 7, where it says that there was 144,000 sealed, it lists the 12 tribes of Israel. You can check it out. The tribe of Dan is missing. The tribe of Dan is not there, and inserted is the tribe of Manasseh. So Dan is missing from those 12 tribes of Israel. So you got to look into this. There's obviously something there to do with the tribe of Dan. And also, if you think about this, this is in Revelation it says this, that Jesus said all these things are going to happen, and the seals are going to be open, and Jesus is going to come back with a white horse. And it says this, that this is Revelation 19:14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. It says that Jesus is going to come with an army of riders on horse. And the scripture we just looked at from Genesis says that Dan's going to bite at the horse's heels and make the rider to fall backwards. So this has so many things that could be with what happens to the elect, or the falling away. It pertains to so many different things. So, and unless this person is of a Jewish lineage, it can't be. These are all, you need to look into this for yourself. A lot of this is just personal things, but it's all backed up on Scripture. So you need to check that out, and just know that this guy's not going to be some clown from some other world leader, or don't believe all this speculation. You need to know, because in Matthew 24 he says, when you see this happen, flee. It's coming. So hope that helps. Check it out for yourself. Thank you for your time, and God bless.